Signs are often misunderstood. Dazed behavior, loss of awareness, aimless movements.
You on something?
Hidden signs that may point to a common type of epilepsy.
What's up, Coach?
Early recognition and treatment of seizures can help keep kids like Evans on the team. Get the facts. Write Epilepsy Foundation of America, Washington, D.C. 20013.
This is your TV station, 5TV.
As head of the African National Congress, he is both outlaw and hero in his native South Africa.
I think they're terrorists. I think they're appalling people. It's an organization that represents everybody, black, white, colored, green or gold.
How can they just kill people, innocent people?
He is also a focus of controversy here in the United States.
His organization is a terrorist organization involved in persecuting the very people they purport to want to help, the blacks of South Africa.
Today, Oliver Tambo became the first African National Congress official to be formally received by a U.S. Secretary of State.
The way to stop our armed struggle is to stop the apartheid system.
Good evening, I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline. Terrorist, communist puppet, or a genuine nationalist trying to avoid bloodshed? We'll talk live with Oliver Tambo tonight.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
The African National Congress is a venerable organization, 75 years old earlier this month. But whereas once it was an organization committed to nonviolence, its tactics have changed. Its leaders, men like Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo, are either in prison or in exile. And until fairly recently, the U.S. government has kept the ANC and its leadership at arm's length. It would be inaccurate to suggest that all South African blacks support the ANC. They do not. It would also be inaccurate, however, to say that all South African whites oppose it. But it is, without question, a force to be reckoned with. Before we talk with its president, Oliver Tambo, we'd like you to take a look at a variety of South African views on the ANC, compiled by our Johannesburg Bureau.
We are giving you 5 minutes to disperse, so if you find yourself being shot, that will be completely your own fault.
I want to be an ANC member. I want to pay revenge of what they did to my brothers and sisters who are dead today.
An appeal has been made to the public to help the police with the identification of victims.
Good evening. 3 people were injured, 2 of them seriously, in 2 separate landmine blasts in the eastern Transvaal today. The police have blamed the ANC for the explosions which occurred in the Breyten area.
I feel it's time for action now that we've had enough of this.
What do you mean by action?
That we shouldn't tolerate anything like this anymore.
The ANC, certainly for the first 50 years of its history, was committed totally to non-violence. And it had, as part of its history, a passive resistance campaign. And it changed that stance when it was banned in 1960 after Sharpeville, when people protested peacefully against the pass laws.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
The ANC has on various occasions emphasized that it is not interested in the renunciation of violence, but that it will continue its onslaught until the takeover of power by violence has been achieved.
The whites in South Africa get their feelings about the ANC only from one source, and that is from the government.
This program tells the story of rehabilitated terrorists and the hardships endured in ANC camps.
I am trained to kill and reap havoc in South Africa. But fortunately, I came to other conclusions after spending years in ANC camps.
It's an absolute tragedy that white South Africans cannot see ANC leaders on their own television, for instance. If they could see and hear Oliver Tambo, I think they'd get the shock of their life. They'd suddenly realize that they're dealing with someone who has a deeply rooted patriotism.
South Africa must and shall belong to all who live in it, black and white.
It is true that they insisted that we might have peace in our time. I think they're terrorists. I think they're appalling people. It's an organization that represents everybody, black, white, colored, green or gold.
How can they just kill people, innocent people?
702 News at 10, I'm Chris Gibbons. The man who planted the Amanzimtoti shopping centre bomb has been executed in Pretoria. 5 people were killed in the Toti blast last December. Also executed 2 others.
You know, you never took notice of people like the ANC. But it's only now that you realize what they're all about.
It would be stupid not to include them in negotiations.
I think it's the movement of the people. It is there to liberate us.
The ANC has become integrated into a resistance culture which has become very much part of everyday life for a large part of the township population. The danger for the ANC at present is that very aroused expectations of people in the townships may be followed by disappointment and apathy.
The danger of the ANC lies in its ability to create a situation of mass insurrection or mass disobedience in South Africa. The institution that wins hearts and minds is going to be the institution in the final analysis that will come out of the struggle on top.
The government has had to accept the fact that the African National Congress is its only opposition. And the leadership knows that for as long as they are imprisoned and for as long as our external leadership is outside, there never will be a solution to this country's problems.
Western governments know very well that within the midst of the ANC there are communist Marxist elements. They are not fighting for freedom. They are using and manipulating legitimate grievances, I admit, legitimate grievances of the black masses of this country to put a clique in power.
Our people want to live like anybody else. They want to live like free people in the land of their birth. And if that is going to make them communist, if they are going to be called communists because they want to live as free people, have democratic rights like anybody else, then if that is being a communist, then communism must be very good.
They are a bunch of communists who do not believe in freedom and the right of the individuals. My message to the ANC is never try to put your hands on this fatherland we paid too dearly in installments of blood from generation to generation.
The daylight is not too far off. There is a dark hour immediately preceding that daylight. And we'll go through it. Some will not survive the dark hour, but some will.
We'll talk live with African National Congress President Oliver Tambo when we come back in just a moment.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Apple Computer.
I see you've got homework too. It never ends. Looks like it was quite a project. Have a look. Thanks. Impressive. I wish we could do work like this. But we have to crank them out every week. So do we. If we can afford to farm them out, we have to do them on our computer. So do we. You did that on the computer? What kind of computer?
The German Autobahn has no speed limit. Once on it, drivers test each other and their cars. But when the weather turns nasty and the road gets slick, it's comforting to be in an Audi 5000 Quattro. All-wheel drive and anti-lock braking can make a difference, you know. If it rains where you live, you're ready for an Audi Quattro.
It's your turn.
Let's flip a coin.
No way, I did it last night.
Well, how about if...
It's your turn to warm up the bed.
But it's like a freezer. Sparky, old boy, you want to come sleep with Mommy and Daddy tonight? Come
Why not discover warm flotation sleep from Big Sur water baths? The New York is $199.99, or the Scottsdale is $149.99 in a light or dark finish.
Come on, Sparky. Come on.
Big Sur water baths, America's largest, 3715 Merle Hay Road at Douglas in Des Moines.
This is it, the Payless Cash Waste Once a Year Home Remodeling Sale. Our biggest ever, savings on things you need to get started. Save $5 on this Carefree washless faucet with spray, sale price $39.99. Kitchen cabinets, 45 to 50% below manufacturer's suggested list every day. Believe it, and there's savings like these store-wide. Don't miss out, the Once a Year Home Remodeling Sale going on now at Payless Cash Waste.
Don't do it yourself without us.
Payless Cash Waste.
The president's spokesman is leaving, but Barbara Walters got Larry Speaks to speak out.
This job probably has the greatest screw-up potential of any job in the world.
Watch 2020 Thursday.
Readers of the Washington Times found themselves looking at this full-page advertisement today. There was a picture of Oliver Tambo with Soviet leader Gorbachev, and next to it, what was identified as a simulated photograph of Tambo and Secretary of State Shultz. Which bothers you more? Asked the headline. The ad was taken out by a coalition of conservative organizations, all of which are very bothered by the fact that Shultz and Tambo did meet today. Others who were bothered demonstrated in front of the State Department, pantomiming the fate of South African blacks who collaborate with that country's white government. Necklacing, it's called, putting a gasoline-filled tire around the collaborator's neck and burning the victim to death. Senate Republican leader Dole alluded to that and other ANC acts of violence today.
Meeting with Tambo without the precondition that the ANC disavow terror tactics comes perilously close to sending the wrong kind of message on terrorism.
Indeed, State Department spokesman Charles Redman indicated that Secretary Shultz had expressed some concerns of his own.
The Secretary laid out our concerns about the degree of Soviet influence in the ANC and its stance on violence. The Secretary made it clear that a policy of violence from any party is not the answer to South Africa's problems and that there are other options. The pursuit of violence will only lead to a catastrophe for all.
Oliver Tambo joins us live in our Washington studio. Dr. Tambo, I get the impression that you said what you were ready to say to Secretary Shultz, and Secretary Shultz said what he was ready to say to you. But in terms of a meeting of the minds, that really didn't happen today, did it?
Oh, to some extent it did. We agreed about the need to end the apartheid system. We agreed on the need to replace that system with a non-racial, democratic, and united South Africa. We agreed that it was necessary to exhaust all possible ways to bring about an end to that situation. But we did not agree, of course, on the question of what the Secretary of State referred to as violence, and our associations with the Soviet Union.
Now tell me why you couldn't agree on that. It seems to me that this is one of those significant days that comes along only once, in a long while, where after many, many years, as I said earlier, of keeping people like you and the African National Congress at arm's length, the government of the United States has now, in a sense, bestowed a form of recognition on you. When the Secretary met you today, that creates kind of a possible turning point. Why isn't this an appropriate time to say, all right, Let's try nonviolence again.
Well, the meeting enabled us to say to the Secretary of State in so many words what Jack Kennedy said, that those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. That is what has happened to the ANC. We reached a point when it became impossible to continue with nonviolence as the sole means of trying to press for what we're entitled to. And we had to embrace armed struggle.
The problem, Dr. Tambo, with soaring rhetoric, though, is that it sometimes obscures the need to take courageous action. It would be an act of great courage right now to forswear violence and, in effect, almost to dare the South African government to meet you on peaceful terms. And from what I understand, the U.S. government stands prepared, at least judging from the public statement that was made, stands prepared to act as an intermediary. Why not take them up on it?
Our struggle, our total struggle, is a form of pressure for change, for rapid, radical change in South Africa. The armed struggle is it's an essential part of this pressure. If we remove it, what do you put in its place? Apartheid is still there.
What do you lose by suspending that kind of armed struggle for a period of time? A month, 3 months, 6 months? What is lost?
We would, in a way, be back to square one. We would be back to the days when apartheid is battering our people, butchering them, killing them, and we are helpless. We'll be going back to where we were more than 25 years ago.
With all due respect, Dr. Tambo, that's not quite so. 25 years ago, the United States government wouldn't have dreamed of receiving the head of the ANC. 25 years ago, you did not have the kind of international recognition that you have now. 25 years ago, the United States Congress did not dream of imposing sanctions on the South African government. Things have changed.
Things have changed. And one of the agencies for this change is our own struggle. We have changed the situation in our favor. We have drawn international focus on our situation by our sacrifices, by the thousands and thousands of our people who are dying, battling against a crime against humanity. It is that struggle.
I think you're right, Dr. Tambo. It is that. It is the victims, the many black victims, that have drawn attention to your struggle, but I wonder if you aren't diluting the impact that that has had by then turning around and reacting in a similar fashion and creating victims on the other side.
We are not creating victims on the other side.
Well, when you plant bombs and when civilians are killed, those people are reasonably regarded as victims.
Well, all this is what so many people feared might happen in the end. It is true, a few people have died as a result of ANC actions. And I say a few, but thousands have been killed brutally by the forces of the apartheid system. Thousands.
Dr. Tambo, we're going to take a break for a moment. When we come back, I'd like to take up the other point of disagreement that you said you had with Secretary Schultz, namely your association with Moscow. We'll continue our discussion in a moment.
Once upon a time, millions of us roamed the bathrooms of America.
We're bull shavers, convinced we had to use shavers with all kinds of expensive extras.
But we don't pay an arm and a hoof anymore, 'cause us bull shavers are becoming
Bic shavers. Bic gives us an extraordinary shave at an extraordinary price, without bells or whistles. To pay more makes you, well, bullheaded. Try the Bic for normal or sensitive skin, and you too will have a beef.
With bull shaving.
It began with a plan and the determination to go for it. General Motors made a commitment to build the highest quality cars in the world. They invested in the future, and now it's paying off. Today, GM brings you the result of 5 years of single-minded, dedicated effort. A 6-year, 60,000-mile warranty that tells you each and every GM car we built today is the best quality, best value GM car ever. The vision is paying off.
There's nothing like summer in Minnesota.
Maybe it's because of the summers I remember here growing up. Maybe it's because this newspaper brings it all back. It's the new summer issue of the Minnesota Explorer, and it's free when you call this special toll-free number. Page after page, there are things to do and places to see this summer. There's a story about the headwaters of the Mississippi, where the river begins. Learn how Minnesota's walleye fishermen are doubling up with some of the best bass fishing in the country. Find out about downtown walking tours that highlight the best of the cities. And read all about the hot summer action at Brainerd International Raceway. There's so much to do. There's even a 12-page calendar with over 600 summer events. And it's free. Call 1-800-228-3800 to receive your new summer issue. And start planning the summer vacation you'll remember the rest of your life. The Minnesota Explorer newspaper. Call 1-800-228-3800.
1954, Salk's efforts conquer polio. Jonas Salk today.
Days and nights didn't matter. Weekends didn't matter.
Watch Our World Thursday.
I'm Joan London. Next week, Good Morning America takes you to Hollywood. Visit the studios and hear from your favorite TV and movie personalities. Next week on Good Morning America.
Continuing our conversation now with Dr. Oliver Tambo of the African National Congress. Dr. Tambo, you told me once when you appeared on this broadcast before that you couldn't afford to be too choosy about where you found your friends and allies, that the African National Congress had to take assistance where it could find it. And if assistance was going to come from the Soviet Union, well, so be it. Let me suggest to you that the Soviet Union can help you fight a war, but I wonder if the Soviet Union can help you come to peace in South Africa.
Oh, I'm sure they can.
How?
I don't know how, but I think it's possible.
Well, what I was going to suggest is that the United States, I think, although its influence is waning in South Africa perhaps, still has a lot more influence with the government of South Africa than the Soviet Union does. It has little or no influence there.
Well, I don't know how successful the United States has been with South Africa. I think the Pretoria regime stands where it ever did before.
You don't think that the United States could act as an honest broker between the ANC and the South African government? I mean, Secretary Shultz, in effect, offered that to you today, didn't he?
Well, we welcome attempts to help us resolve our problems in South Africa. And to that extent, we would welcome the attempts of the United States to help us resolve those problems. We would have liked the international community as a whole to be the brokers in that conflict. If the United States believe they can do it, everybody else has tried, the Commonwealth has tried, the British Foreign Secretary has tried, and perhaps the United States can also try.
Just for the record, you do stand ready to talk with the South African government? Would you sit down with President Botha, for example, if you were prepared to sit down with you?
There would be no problem at all. The problem is that he is not prepared to talk to the ANC.
Well, I get the impression that, of course, he puts the condition on it that the ANC would have to stop all terrorist attacks and stop all military action, and then you in turn talk about the violence of the institutionalized government against the black people of South Africa, and on and on and on, and as the Reverend Jesse Jackson puts it, it's the cycle of violence. How do you break that? How do you ever reach a point? Doesn't someone have to say, I'm going to rise above it, and could that person not be Oliver Tambo?
We think the important thing is to aim at breaking the recalcitrance of the Pretoria regime through our internal struggle combined with external pressures. We don't think that apartheid can survive these pressures indefinitely. There is certainly a point at which the pressures will bring about the collapse of the apartheid system.
You don't think that militarily you're going to be able to defeat South Africa, do you?
We're not really trying to do that. You know, our struggle isn't all armed struggle. It's very, very much political. armed struggle is a component of an all-round struggle to end the system of apartheid. And in that effort, we need the assistance, the intervention of the international community.
That's fine, but if, as I suspect Secretary Shultz might have said to you in one form or another, if someone says to you, all right, fine, the United States stands ready to help, but you have got to do something in return. You have got to renounce violence, and you keep saying you can't, you won't.
You know, we said to the Secretary of State that this renunciation of violence really amounts to surrender on our part. There is no reason why the question of continued conflict, armed conflict, should not be discussed during the course of negotiations. There is no reason why there should be a requirement that the ANC unilaterally, alone in the conflict, should renounce violence when the apartheid system is renouncing no violence, when it is still in place.
But as you say, this is as much a political struggle as an armed struggle, and politically, wouldn't you be seizing the high ground by saying, fine, we'll do it for 3 months, we'll renounce it?
What makes it necessary for us to do that? And what would the regime suspend on its side? It can't suspend apartheid for 3 months. You see, a ceasefire, even if it's temporary, must be reciprocal. There can be no reciprocity as far as apartheid is concerned. They are continuing vigorously with their violence against our people. But what we are saying is, if negotiations started, there is no reason why there should be a precondition for a ceasefire before they start.
Dr. Tambo, I'm afraid we are out of time, but I thank you very much for giving us this interview, and it was very good to talk to you again.
Thanks.
I'll be back in a moment.
Some people will tell you that a smile is a little thing. But at Sheraton, it's a smile that says a lot. It's a smile that says, welcome to Sheraton. It's a smile that says, can I get you another cup of coffee? It says, would you like a few more towels? And it's a smile that says, thank you for staying at Sheraton. At Sheraton, we never forget that little things mean a lot.
Guess what's coming to dinner? New Le Menu Lifestyle. Elegant dinners with under 350 calories. Like sherry glazed chicken, white and wild rice, and broccoli florets. Le Menu Lifestyle dinners. The first light dinners with Le Menu sense of style.
Late one night, when all the families in all the houses all across the land were fast asleep, all of their old family cars were taken away. In their places were left shiny new Honda Accords. And they all drove happily ever after.
Planning a trip to Europe, Hawaii, Disneyland, or any other place in the world? Then come to Jefferson Tours $1 Million World Travel and Vacation Show. Come win valuable prizes like free airline tickets to London via TWA. Everyone wins generous discounts on all the vacations in Jefferson's big brochure of U.S. and international tours. Meet many exhibitors who want to help you take your dream vacation. All at the $1 Million Jefferson's World Travel and Vacation Show. Saturday and Sunday afternoon in the Des Moines Convention Center. Be there. Be a winner.
Finally, a footnote to last night's broadcast. When our live satellite transmission from Tehran was cut off at the last minute, I told you that Revolutionary Guards had prevented the transmission. Today, though, we learned that the instructions came from senior officials at Iranian television. They had been under the impression that Nightline coverage of Speaker Rafsanjani's news conference would be not only live, but live and complete. That is, all 2 hours. That was a misunderstanding. Given all the reports of factionalism in Iran, it would be wrong to leave you with the impression that Revolutionary Guardsmen terminated the broadcast on their own. Whoever gave the orders was simply passing on instructions from officials running Iranian television. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
This has been Nightline. If you wish a printed transcript of this or any Nightline broadcast, please send $3 to Nightline Transcripts, 2 John Street, New York, New York, 10038.
If you want to run, go ahead and run. But this time I'm not running after you.
Family torn apart, the Colbys. And on 2020, from the Philharmonic to the E Street Band, musicians in pain are turning to revolutionary clinics that practice music medicine.
Tomorrow, this is your TV station, 5TV.
Become mine stock, as much as you can.
But our crops have been meager and nearly all our savings are depleted.
Maverick,